So I'm back to where you were a few months ago, and the reason for this is because like the internet at my house is not working, and so for like right now I'm just gonna be in here working. We're back here again, just like to make this one video. I'm pretty sure like it'll be fixed by next month, but on the topic of this month, there's the whole YouTube like age verification thing. I don't really know the full extent of it, nor do I like want to figure it all out. So whatever happens happens, but hopefully it doesn't stop me from having to prematurely end my YouTube channel or anything. Like I still got like few more months here, so like yeah. But anyway, today I'm gonna be talking about my top 5 favorite Cradle Creek episodes. Sorry for the delay, but the circumstances forced me to do this. So let's get into it. So number 5, we have Bring Out Your Beast. Now I'm a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh. I really like kind of like trading card games, and like Bring Out Your Beast was kind of like revolutionary. Like it really like did like seem very interesting. Like the way like it's like embodying like wanting to play a game, and also and also like the real life aspect of like broken cards that just like completely like ruin the game or anything, and like the power that they hold. It's very like inspiring. Like the way it's kind of like Yugi and Atem from like the Yu-Gi-Oh series with like Bernard like mentoring Craig at the end. That's a very like sweet moment, like especially when Craig outsmarts Turner at the end with like Squeakers the Infected. It's just like a very fun episode. Also like gives Bernard like a little bit more insight to like he used to like be like a very big fan of the game. Now he isn't as much anymore, but he still like cares about the cards for monetary purposes. But at the end he does realize that Craig like he can hold on to it. Why not? Who cares? No big deal. But yeah, it's a very great episode, and I did come back. I'm very glad it wasn't a one-time thing, but we'll talk about it later. Number 4, we have Power Punchers. And the Power Punchers, I've gone on record saying it's a very good episode. I really like it looks like a fun game to play in real life. Like it's like Super Smash Bros. Like mixed with like other things. It's like it's just like it's a whole lot of things. But like what makes Power Punchers very good is that it's about Craig and his dad's like relationship. Like Craig's dad, Dwayne, let's call him, like that's his actual name. So, he's like the way like he plays with Craig is like very unfair, because they can only do it once a night, and he's also played this game like back when he was a kid, so he of course has an advantage over his own son, who like, and like Craig has fun playing Power Punchers, but of course he wants to beat his dad, and he can't do that if he doesn't have any training, he doesn't have any experience, if he's like completely new to the game. So like he goes to the elders and gets like trained there, but of course like that feels like cheating against his dad. But then again, like it's like you gotta weigh the odds, and then eventually it does like come to a climax when Craig does beat his dad, like using all he's learned. But then it turns into like Dwayne just like it's like a whole thing. Like he wanted to he played with Bernard like stopped caring about the game when he finally beat Dwayne, and now the same cycles repeating with Craig. Dwayne just wants someone to play with, like his childhood game with, and so like if Craig like thinks that like, and so like he thinks that like if Craig beats him, he won't like play with him anymore. But of course like Craig's like, yeah, I don't want to, just like continues playing. It's very sweet. I don't like how in that one episode Jessica Shorts, that Jessica did eventually like play Power Punchers and she did beat Craig. I didn't like that, because I feel like I don't know, I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, sacrilegious that like Craig has been dethroned as like the game champion, but it's whatever. At number 3, we have Locked Out Cold, quite possibly the most hilarious episode I've ever seen of the show. It's a Bernard episode. I love Bernard episodes, but this one in particular is what really like kicked off. Like in the later seasons, Bernard got like a lot more focus than he ever did in the show prior, and this is like the first insight. It's like, hey, Bernard can actually be like a very fun character. So like basically like it's like Craig, like Jessica and Bernard, they gotta go to their grandparents' house for like Christmas time. Like they're left home alone while their parents are there, but like they gotta get there, but then like they get locked out of the house when they gotta and so they gotta go scramble across to Alexis's house, like Kelsey's house, and then finally JP's house. But then there's like a whole like variety of things. Like the animation is also like very like spectacular. It really does like show like Bernard having like a inner crisis, just like freaking out, not knowing what to do, trying to like figure out ways, and also like the way they react to things in the fourth orbit. Just like watch the episode for yourself. It's a very entertaining episode. It's like quite possibly like one of the best like holiday specials, if you want to call it that. It's just like it's so entertaining. At number 2, we have Bernard of the Creek, both parts 1 and 2. Now the reason why this episode is so good is because it really is like it's the best of both worlds. Back in like my Cradle Creek episode I did this video from like quite a few years ago, I like mentioned that I want another episode with Bring Out Your Beast cards. And we did get that because Bring Out Your Beast did come back in this episode, and Bernard did relapse, and he went back to playing the game. And another thing is that it was also an episode where Bernard and Alexis broke up, and then Craig tried to help him, and it's like in a weird ham-fisted way. But they did happen, and both in the same episode. It's like, well, if you want to go there, part 1 is about Bring Out Your Beast, and part 2 is about the breakup. But this is it's the best of both worlds, but it's also very good because it's really focusing on Bernard as a character. Because as we see, because in the episode Craig the Campus, Bernard went to the college, he got roped into taking a test there, and then when he failed it, he's like, am I even ready for college? Because Bernard is a character who, in the show, his whole thing is that he thinks he has his life all figured out. That's what makes him feel like he's above Craig in that aspect. Because he's a lot more smarter, he's a lot more mature than Craig. So obviously he will think that he's ready for adult life. But then this failing that test is I don't think I'm ready at all. And so he has a midlife crisis basically. And so he goes to play the Craig. Actually having fun with Craig, and yeah. But then of course it takes a turn for the worse when he forgets. He doesn't forget. He intentionally pivoted to playing Bring Out Your Beast just to usurp the role at the splintery butt, just to be the best at the game again. And then but of course Alexis is mad at him for that, and it's a whole thing. But it is a very fun episode showcasing Bernard. He's having problems, he doesn't think he's ready for college, therefore he decides to try to live as much as he can as a kid again. But then him being a kid kind of realizes that he's missing out on all the problems in life, so he becomes a shell of his former self. He goes downhill, but then he goes back up by the end of part 2. And it's also kind of ties into the Yellow Zoid Creek storyline, which I did really like. But yeah, Bernard the Creek is it's a very fun 2-part. I'm really glad it was a 2-part episode, because there's no way this could have been 11 minutes. But yeah, I love everything about this episode. Now, before we get into number 1, I do have to give one specific honorable mention. The Rise and Fall of the Green Poncho was originally my favorite episode of Cray the Creek, but, of course, things change. Things change a lot, but it is still, a really great episode. Honestly, it's in, my top 10. It's somewhere. I'm just saying it right here because it was my favorite episode at one point, but I feel it's worth mentioning because, it was my favorite, but it's not my favorite anymore. But it is a really great episode showing the second part of Omar's backstory, how he officially became the Green Poncho. Very nice, storyline. And also, the way the Council of Creek, interacts in the episode is very, fun. But, yeah. Now let's move on to number 1. And at number 1, we have the entire Capture the Flag 5-parter. Part 5 is especially, the best. It's obviously the best part because, everybody comes together, and it's, it's a big, all-out warfare, and it's fun. And, but, each of them kind of have, something to offer. Part 1 is, introducing, Xavier into the main side of the Creek, and, part 2 is, the effect that, he has on something. Part 3, I think it's, Craig, Kelsey, and JP seeking out Kenneth to have, information and intel on Xavier, hoping to figure out the backstory of the Creek and stuff. And then part 4 is planning for the big Capture the Flag war, and then part 5 is everything. It's it's honestly so hype. Part 5 is especially the best part, especially if the Deltron cameo. I love that song, and there's so many amazing things going on. But yeah, Capture the Flag was not originally my favorite episode, but it definitely is now, looking back on it, because every part does have something to offer. This is what the entire show has been building up to ever since Under the Overpass, which first introduced the Green Poncho and gave oh, there's more to the Creek than meets the eye. There's a whole other colony on the other side. It's awesome. But yeah, it's a really great 5-parter. Definitely one of the best parts of Cray the Creek. It's like a movie. And there we go. Those are my top 5 favorite Cray the Creek episodes. Now, we're not done with Cray the Creek just yet. We still got a few more episodes. Plan on ranking every Cray the Creek season, and I'm also getting my top 5 favorite Cray the Creek characters in the coming months. But now that that's all said and done, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Check my straw poll. Check out my DMR Twitter and my letterbox. The links are in the description. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.